Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Brian's Life. So I'm just doing a kind of a random video here today, walking along, enjoying the sunshine. And I always think life always comes down to choices, but there's basically only two choices. Do you believe we're made out of energy, or do you believe everything is just random and we just by fluke are here? And no, I don't really think we're by fluke. I think this energy thing, there's a lot of science behind it as well with quantum entanglement, and I'm by no means educated enough to understand it, but I find it super fascinating how they can prove so many things are connected. And I would really like to take your guys' take on that, because I can't be the only person around here on this planet with so many billions of people around that think the same. And I would sure like to connect with people that do think the same, or have an opinion with it, or whatever, because it's a very interesting subject. And I would think I'm a little bit more open-minded for this kind of stuff. And I don't want to call this a near-death experience, but I don't know what else to call it, because I did have one when I was very young, but I didn't die. I did nothing dramatic. I just got knocked on my head, and I was out for a little while. And what I did feel, and the communication and everything that there was which was very limited. But I can tell you right now that knowing all, and that peace, that love, that I felt, that I've done many a parties in my life, and I tell you, nothing comes close to that feeling, that brief little moment. So, and I've watched a lot of shows on documentaries on near death, and they all sort of have that same thing in common, that knowing all and everything else. And when I say knowing all, I don't, not the answers to life, but just I knew it wasn't supposed to be there. I knew everything was all right. I knew when I wake up I'm going to be in a lot of pain, which I was, had a concussion. And it was just an interesting experience. And now I brushed that off quite early in my life, because I remember watching another documentary where they were kind of debunking the near-death experience when astronauts go for training, and they pass out and so on and so forth, and they see sort of the same thing. So I never really thought much about it until the last few years again. And one of the things I kind of remember now is thinking, well, if it was just past memories, I can get that. But knowing I'm going to be in extreme pain, I mean, I knew that I was in bliss, I was peaceful, and I knew I'm going to wake up. And then when I do wake up, it's going to be okay, but I'm going to hurt. So that to me is a piece of future knowing. But anyway, this quantum entanglement, how so many things are connected, and little tests you can do. If you've got sunglasses on, for example, and you're in a crowded place and you're looking at somebody or something, they can turn around and look at. They just know that they're being watched, and vice versa. You ever get that feeling somebody's watching you, and you turn around or whatever, and you know it. So these are all things we sort of all know, but we don't know the answer. We just dismiss it. And I think there's a deeper answer to that. We can't just keep dismissing a lot of these unique things. And what I find in this time frame now is science is getting behind a lot of this. Like, their own scientists are understanding a lot more about quantum entanglement, how two particles, two levels of energy, or I'm explaining it wrong, but they're connected, and then you go with the observer effect. Things only, they change when you observe them. So I think, then you go to the real, I would call extreme, but who am I to judge anything when they call we live in a matrix? This is simulation. And there's a lot of well-known people that are studying this and stuff, and they have a lot of what they call their proof, their evidence that we are. But in the same token, if you're going to go down that rabbit hole, you could talk about it spiritually as well. If it could be a simulation for our learning, our path, our energy, and I don't even know how to begin to get into that subject, and I would love to hear your guys' opinions on that one. But what is being proven more and more is quantum entanglement, and how it can prove we're more connected. And there's a lot of studies out there on remote viewing. That's another fascinating one. And these are all things I encourage you to research on your own as well. But the remote viewing is very, very well researched, and people have done many studies on that. I've watched people that have been studying this all their lives, and they've done setups, they've done tests. They'd bury certain things and mark off a grid, and they'd ask the remote viewers to narrow it down. There's a very very well documented documentary thing where there's one they didn't want to let them into the country. They were looking for a pyramid or something like that they knew existed but didn't know where. And anyway, it turns out they finally gave them the opportunity to go out there, and they were saying, "Oh no, it's not here," and this and that, and it ended up being right beneath them. And this guy, remote viewed it right down to what's in the rooms, what's the hallways that are connected and stuff like that. And there is no way this person could have known this. This is built lifetimes ago. So the question is, are we all connected? Are we all intertangled? Are we here for a purpose? Another interesting thing I find is, they say we've come down here, we choose this life to learn. And the more I look into that, it sort of makes sense if you're going to go down that path and have that vision or belief, because you think about the greatest day you had in your life, and you tell me what you learned on that day. And that's not to downplay your good days, that's not to downplay the joy, nothing by any stretch of the imagination, but you don't learn really anything. You're very happy, you're content. And we'd all argue, okay, I don't want to learn anything anymore, just keep me there. But if we are all connected and we are from a greater power, then everyday bliss is not a learning growth experience. And every time you have something negative happen in your life, you do learn and you grow from this. And I find that an interesting angle. And this energy part is hard to deny. Our bodies are made of energy, and where does that go, when we pass on? So I don't know. I'm sure there's other people that are having these thoughts, these questions, and I'm in the beginning path. The stuff I watch, it's kind of like people are either just no way, not me, don't get it, don't want it, don't believe it, and then everything else I watch, they're right into it. Manifest this, do this, and it's almost like I'd like to find that group that's in the middle, that's not quite there yet, understands the principles of it, and wants to learn more and be involved with that and get into it, because that's where I'm at. And I'm leaning towards, I think we all are all connected. I think there is a greater meaning for everything than the energy and the positive things. Just how you feel when you get into those modes of thinking more positive. It can change your outlook. And synchronicities, that's another one. I could go on this all day, but I'm really just made a random video here. This has been in my mind for a while. I kind of want to reach out, and I would love to hear from people that are on the same path. They want to believe in the beginning of it, they're having a hard time focusing on it, they don't know how to meditate, they don't know what the right directions are, they have inner questions, all this kind of stuff, because that's sort of where I am, and I see the advantage. I've literally had to watch videos over and over and over again for 5 or 6 months repetitively, not necessarily the same video but on the same topics, before I started sinking in, because I was very, very stubborn, and I had a hard time letting that in. I guess the hardest thing for myself was the control. I always had the illusion of control. I don't know if that's with everybody. When they get older, it diminishes. I don't know. But again, this is why I'd like to really interact with people out there that are watching this, and really would like to connect with like-minded people, so we can share some information, help each other, find out little knickknacks and tricks that maybe enlightened our path easier, or what works for them and what does not work. And for me, I like to share these things, and I found that re-watching a lot of them, staying on that, just seeing the science behind it as well. So for example, if there's something that somebody will say, I'll try to just research that. A few years ago, I remember somebody was talking, we're all made, our atoms and this and that, and we're made of this many particles in our body, and 99% of each atom is just energy and stuff. And I thought, okay, well, that's an easy speech to make. So I kind of researched that alone. And I go, well, there's some truth behind that, And this is why we need so much water, because it's our conductor. I mean, it's a fascinating world out there. There's a lot of information, and there's a lot of weird coincidence. There's a lot of different things. I myself, like I said, I feel I'm a little bit more open-minded to accepting these new understandings, or I guess even if they're not that new, simply because of my experience when I was younger. And having gone through that, nobody can talk me out of that. The feeling I had, I don't care what anybody says, it was wonderful, it was great. I've never been able to reproduce that feeling, that knowledge of knowing all. There was a little bit of communication, but nobody was speaking. It happened. It was a brief of a moment. I was just knocked out, so it wasn't like something dramatic, but I felt that. And I still have, I'm not flipped. I haven't converted to like, okay, this is the only path kind of stuff. And I've had that experience. So I can super relate to the people that haven't even had that, how they can just brush all of this off. And then another thing I'm starting to wonder now as well, I see a lot of this, that we've chosen this path, and I've seen some very interesting documentaries on kids that remember past lives, and I encourage you to research that one as well. It's amazing. There was a university funding available for somebody that was rich and left it in the things. Anybody that wants to have a scholarship, but it's free, but as long as you study life after death. So there was a young fellow that decided, hey, a free scholarship, what the heck? And he's devoted his life to studying it, actually, and just amazing. He found, there, and there's a lot of cases, and there's a lot of amazing facts that they exist. This is not just weird superstition talk. They're actually been able to really find proof of things that just they can't explain, like a young child. And I seen the interview, he filmed it. And you can't make up this child's expression. The mother was really concerned at first, because he kept saying, when do I get to see my other mom? When do I get to see my other family? And that just obviously didn't sound right. So it turns out he brought this child 10 sets, after doing a lot of research, and I don't want to bore you with all that, but you got to do, if you're interested in this, research some of these documentaries. They're amazing. And so he brought 10 sets of pictures to this child, and out of the 10 sets, there was 4 he had no inclination of what they were, but out of the 6 he got 10 out of 10 correct. In other words, the person that this guy assumed he was in his before life, and this, don't forget, this was a child of 5-6 years old, or that they filmed the direct interview and picking out these pictures, and the expressions, hey, that's my house, that's where it was, and it was somebody where completely different. Ends up he was an actor, a movie star, or something like that, or a director, or something in show business, and was quite well off. And they spoke to the other family, the other relatives and stuff, and actually that child ended up in his teens with very, very severe depression. He didn't know how to handle with those past memories, and they all faded eventually. He doesn't talk about it much now, and that's just one isolated thing. I could go on and on and on about these. I've watched a lot of these documentaries, and you begin to wonder of all these things. And I having a hard time meeting other people that are on the path and want to learn, and their experience of their growth and stuff like that. Because like I said, it's kind of black and white. You either got the people that are just, oh no, this is it, this is, and close your eyes, manifest, and you have your Ferrari, Porsche, whatever. Okay, I make light of stuff, but got a weird sense of humor. But so that's sort of where I'm at. Like I said, I'm reaching out. Hopefully I get some other people interested in this that want to share and help each other and grow, and have direction with other things to watch, or self-experiences that you want to share. That'd be fantastic. And if you've got any direct questions about what documentaries that I've watched that you want to learn more about, I'll definitely, too many to list here and all this kind of stuff. If you want a specific one that I find interesting and people I've followed and stuff like that with their research on it, by all means, leave that in the comments, and I'll reach out to you. But I just find it a very interesting topic, and I wanted to share that today on this beautiful day, walking along the river here, and thinking, and let me know your thoughts. If this is interesting at all, hit the like button, subscribe, follow along, and looking forward to interacting. All right, everybody, take care, be happy, be safe, and do good. Bye.